That bird is loud. March 24th rolled around and we were delivered absolute gold. Hello everybody and welcome back to another installment of Comprehensive Music Reviews. That is my bird yelling in the background and she won't be quiet. For those of you brand new, my name is Nick and I like to do these whenever I get a chance to and or whenever there's new music that is released. And I definitely didn't want to miss this one. This was an absolutely fantastic release that we just had. So as of March 24th, Ne Obliviscaris has dropped their 4th album. That would be named Exul, and this has not disappointed. This release so far has been met with stellar reviews and a lot of people giving it high praise and high compliments, and rightfully so. This album is definitely a very heavy hitter in their discography, and there's nothing that they do wrong on the album. All I've seen so far are positive reviews on it. Everybody's been very happy and very accepting of this album, and rightfully so. But you didn't come here to listen to what other people think about it. You came here to hear my opinion. So we're going to get right into it. Starting off with a general overview, this is a 6-track album, which is nothing that's different for Ne Obliviscaris. They'll be able to release a 6-track album that has 10, 7, 12-minute songs or whatnot on it, and every single one of those songs is something memorable. There's something that's unique to it that helps to bring a new layer out of the band. Kind of like when you're peeling away at an onion. I know I've used that analogy with them before as well. There seems like there's just more folds that we can just keep on peeling away that they have that brings something that's new and fresh and exciting about them. This is one of the first albums that they decided to use a string quartet on instead of just the solo violin from Tin Charles. And honestly, it does fit the album very well. There's a whole lot more vibrance and a whole lot more space that feels like it's being filled up. It's very ambient, and honestly, it benefits the album a whole lot more doing it this way. Definitely the mixing and mastering is at its peak right now with this particular series. This set of 6 songs, honestly, is some of the best mixed Ne Obliviscaris that I've heard yet. Nothing wrong with the mixes on the first albums, but the guitar tone is unmatched. It so far is some of the most crushing stuff that I've heard yet from them. The drum tone is absolutely fantastic. It's nice and boomy. It's the perfect volume. There's not really a whole lot wrong with it. The bass tone I may have per se changed just a little bit, but again, that is just me. I honestly myself prefer clanky bass because of the music styles that I listen to, but I can definitely appreciate the bass tone that they went with for this album. It doesn't match the rest of the albums, and it adds an extra layer to that band that you don't really see in a lot of other modern music. And the vocals are done in an absolutely perfect way. Now, to get into the mixing and mastering side of things, this album is done phenomenally well. I cannot compliment this album enough. It is just pure mixing and mastering gold. It is honestly going to probably set a standard for a lot of these different progressive bands as far as ambience, bass tone, guitar tone, and a balance between all of them that is going to define what we're going to be hearing from now on. Because we all kind of have that set standard of what like prog metal should be, and that's from bands like Dream Theater and from Periphery. Listen to me, Periphery. I can't even speak English today. Wow, listen to me. My speech skills are at 102%. We're talking about bands like Dream Theater or Periphery, and bands that kind of set the bar for what mixing and mastering on prog records should be, as well as what guitar tones should be. But Ne Obliviscaris takes that to a different level. Not necessarily a new or an even higher level, but just into a slightly off to the side portion that makes it work so much better. There's just something about the way this mix is done that is just absolutely phenomenal. Whether it's the ambience, whether it's the balance between all the instruments and how tonally everything kind of fits together like a puzzle piece. I couldn't say for sure what it is, but definitely I think a lot of bands are going to be listening to that and be wanting to change the way that they mix their records and all that based off of that mix. As far as the actual writing portion of things on this album goes, this album is written in a very fantastic style. Again, these guys are progressive metal, so there's definitely a lot of things that we're looking for in them. Long songs is for one. We definitely have that met on this album. There's definitely a lot of different time signature changes, a lot of metric modulation that we see, and there's definitely a lot of these different polyrhythms that we can hear as well in the music. There's parts in the songs that we hear that seem kind of chaotic put together, but when you sit there and listen to like a 4/4 metronome, it just blends really well, and all of a sudden you realize this is an incredibly complex pattern that all fits together. So definitely this was a very well planned out album on the writing perspective of things. There's one part in Misericord Part 1 that it sounds like it's honestly written in 15/8, which is definitely not a very common time signature, I will tell you that for sure. But it's an exceptionally well done, very well done record as far as the writing perspective goes. They've taken things to a new level on this album. They've definitely tried new things, and it's paid off. Even if they might not be like giant leaps of faith per se as far as the actual writing style goes. You know, I'm not asking them to put little funk sections in their music like, you know, Sleep Token or anything like that. But even the small little things that they're trying that may not really work out, maybe they will, maybe they won't, have definitely paid off for them. It's done very well. This is how you can tell that these guys are masters of their craft when they're able to take 3 years, which I can understand why it took 3 years to write this, write an absolutely perfect record, and still be able to expand and grow as musicians. It's definitely well done. Vocally, I feel like that Zen and Tim Charles are at their best right now. Zen sounds like an absolute monster. He's got that aggressive tone, that very dark tone with himself. His highs sound very good blended together. He doesn't sound like, you know, some of the older videos of him live when he sounded like he was hurting his voice or straining. He sounds very effortless. He sounds like it's just, you know, he's able to belt this out. We're hearing him actually as well. We're hearing on this album Zen's screams are actually lasting a lot longer on certain parts of the song as compared to the other albums. And honestly, I think that just goes to show you that even though Zen is a master of his craft in his own way, he still is finding ways to improve and room to expand and try new things. It's that challenge of constantly trying to improve yourself that will push you as a musician, and these guys have exemplified that. Tim Charles is going into different ranges as far as his vocals go. He's trying out different scales that are in this songs that are included on this album that you don't really hear in a lot of their other songs that are out there. Like if you were to set this album side by side with Earn, these are two entirely different albums as far as the way they're written. The melodies and all that are completely different. Tim Charles is going way out on a limb here with trying some of these different things, and it pays off and it really does work. I've got nothing but love for this record. I can't express enough, honestly, how much I like the way the drums were done. You guys already know I'm a huge fan of Dan Presslin. He's just phenomenal. Go support his other work in Black Lava and all that. It's worth it. So to get back into another overview, taking into effect the composition, the mixing and mastering side of things with music production, and overall the improvement that we see with each record. This is why I say that Ne Obliviscaris is probably one of the best modern metal bands, because they are modern metal as far as they're in the modern age, they're started in the modern era, but they don't play the modern metal stereotypes of gent or generic metalcore or whatnot. These guys are taking something that's completely different and are expanding upon it and growing themselves as musicians, which is absolutely phenomenal. I want to see more of that in the music industry. These guys, for some reason, have just found a way to do it in the most efficient manner possible, and I find that to be extremely inspiring, because that's something that all musicians, at the end of the day, should be inspired to do. And this is a record that does exemplify that. Not saying anything bad about their other records. All their other records, absolute gold as well. But they're one of those few bands that actually just keeps on getting better and better with each record. I think, honestly, at the end of the day, though, these guys are going to be at the top of the mountain when it comes to progressive metal. They'll be listed among the big names like John Petrucci and Dream Theater, Misha Mansour and Periphery. Even other acts that are out there like Porcupine Tree that we don't hear a lot from, I feel like they'll be all listed together as some of the best progressive metal bands that we've seen. Now, to get into a rating for this album, for all 6 tracks being as beautiful as they are and each one bringing an absolutely amazing new layer to Ne Obliviscaris, I don't know honestly how I can give this any other rating short of a 9.5 out of 10. This is an absolutely banger record. There's nothing that I have that's a complaint against it, besides for a few minor mixing and mastering things that I would have done personally different. And that's just coming down to like the bass tone, making certain things about, you know, the guitar parts just a little bit slightly different, or maybe even just some after effects that I think would have been cool as well. But that's all to the side. That's my opinion. It does not take away from how amazingly well done the record is. It's an absolutely solid, amazing S-tier record. It's a gold standard record, and it is going to set the standard for how people are going to make progressive metal. And it's going to set the standard for how people should be improving as a band. Never just shrugging your shoulders and just going, good enough. If you want to start a band and you guys are thinking, we can just play the same thing for 15 years, think again. With that being said, that is going to be the end of this album review. So here's a couple things you can do to help me out. First thing you can do is drop a like on the video and then leave a comment. Just let me know what you guys thought of Exul as an album. Did you guys like it? Is there anything that you think they should have done differently? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Also, the other thing you can do is you can hit that subscribe button that's down there. Remember, it is free and you can always change your mind, even years down the road, if you feel like, this guy's annoying. I don't blame you if you think that either way. Another thing you can also do is hit that notifications bell as well. That'll give you a notification for every time that I post a new video, so that way you can also watch it when it premieres. Also, check out the other playlists and other videos I have on my channel. They're great, I promise. And with all that being said, guys, that's going to be the end of this album review. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully it's a nice, enjoyable, and restful one. I'll see you in the next review. Cheers, guys.